Thanks for coming over. This is Amodeus. In today's Elune video, I want to talk about Iscariot. So we have been kind of team comp building, looking at Reddit, really reading articles. Crowd control is obviously in this game the huge way to beat bosses. And I'll tell you, like, one of the things about Iscariot is, like, he has two phases, right? Just like most of the bosses. So if you look at his first phase, you'll see that at phase 1, it lasts from 100 to 40%, like right down here at the very bottom where it says phase 1. So first and foremost, let's back it up a bit because I got a bunch of questions about that. So what you want to do is when you're in the boss rate, hit index, right? And then it gives you all the information about the boss. So you could say, like, hey, he doesn't have as much physical defense as he does magic defense. I mean, if you want to go even deeper into a stat, you can like over here on the left-hand side, just above his name, just hit that little menu button, and you can see like all of his stuff, right? So he's super susceptible to crit rates, but everything else is pretty much even across the board. Like I said, if you want to look at that information, that's cool. You don't really need it, in my personal opinion, right? Like not right off the bat, right? Like that's probably like when you're thinking about autoing the team. Now, what I will tell you is he's got a lot of skills, man. He's got a lot of skills. And when I was thinking about the team comp and I looked online and I was looking at my champions and I was trying to figure stuff out, I realized like there's a lot of maneuverability with this team, right? If you have somebody who does shields. Pardon me, why are shields important? Because when he switches to phase 2, he baptizes one of your enemies, which means that like it reduces the amount of damage they can do and whether or not they can switch turns. But then he also does like an AoE attack, and that AoE attack is like a lot. It can totally wipe out one of your champs if they're not good. So you definitely want to make sure at the very bare minimum you go in here and you look to see like what's that. Let's pull it up here. Let's see what's that max damage he's going to do. So he does soul damage equals 65% of max HP to a baptized enemy. I mean, he does death curse. He does all these different things, but they're not as big a deal as you think they are. Here's why. This is so crazy. Here's why. Let's go back. Look at our team. So it's your basic crowd control team, right? Like, first and foremost, we have Chloe Van. She's amazing. Everybody should get her because she's farmable in Adventure 2. And you get her 3-star, and then it sucks. Spin some seeds, and then skill up her second skill, because her second skill is an attack that stuns when it's maxed out for 3 turns. Right? That's amazing. Now that's amazing for a bunch of different reasons, but when you combine her with Kunhar, whose third skill basically stuns for 4 turns, right? If he gets enough crits. And they don't resist, right? So think about that. So if they're stunned, if they're paralyzed with Chloe Van, then every hit is a crit. So if you speed tune it so that Chloe Van goes first and then Kunhar goes, you can basically put any boss you want on lockdown, and that's pretty much it. Now they do have resistance building, like the ability to get more resistant to the same type of stuns over and over, but with the length of time that you're actually doing this, because you're chaining them together, right? You're doing a 3 and then a 3 turn stun and then a 4th turn stun. It's pretty ridiculous how easy it is to get past some of these boss defenses. Now, the problem is like usually when they switch phases, they cleanse themselves and then they do an attack. That's where champions like, for instance, like Freya comes into play, right? Because one of Freya's skills, her second skill, gives you a shield for 2 turns, right? Or a barrier for 2 turns. And so does Stella. Stella does it too. And if you have the ability to put up a barrier to stop that damage, that incoming damage, and keep your team alive, well, that's a game changer, because then you can just start to lock them back down. I'll show you what I mean. So we're still completing these stages. So this is our last one for today. I'm gonna go ahead and enter. Oh, I wish I could do Burning Time event for reals. Okay. So, man, the graphics in this game are so appealing to me. I also like all the theory crafting that's going on in the community right now to get around these things. Okay, so here's Iscariot. He's the third boss. And fourth boss. He's the fourth boss that you can unlock. So here you go. So my team is speed tuned so that Chloe Van goes first. Boom. I'm going to switch over to her second skill. And hopefully I'm going to paralyze him for 3 turns. Boom. Got him paralyzed for 3 turns. So paralyzed for 3 turns. So every attack is going to be a crit. All incoming damage will be crits. It says right there. So now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to use Way to boost my attack. And I'm going to use basic attacks. For now, I'm going to use basic attacks. And I'm just going to start to beat him down. Now the nice thing is that King Rim obviously has that insta-kill that gets doubled if it's not going to be if the boss is immune to it. But here's what I was talking about. This is so crazy. We're going to use his third skill, and we're going to stun him for 4 turns. So do you see that? The probability just goes up that he's going to get stunned if all the attacks are crits. It's one of his passives. How crazy is that? Right? So for the next 4 turns, he's locked down. And then, shockingly, we're just going to do this. And I'm not going to use Chloe Van's skill yet because I don't need to. Right? I don't want to make the boss more resistant to her skills because I don't need to. Here's why Kunhar is so awesome. His second skill, right, has a chance to extend stuns. Whoop, see how they both went to 4? Boom. So now we're going to use this, and it's not reapplying stuns. It's extending them, right? So there's not, in theory, he's not building up a resistance. So now that I got Ram up there, or King Ram up there, I'm messing up all the characters' names. It's crazy. Now that we got him with his Mark of Death on there, I know I can deliver just an insanely powerful attack when I get close to 40. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna use the skill again. I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna try and extend. Look, back to 4. We're at 63. We just got to whittle them down to 40. Now, it does take a little while because I don't want to do it before 40, right? I don't want to waste any of the juice that we have going because right before we get to 40, we got to make sure that we have, and see, I'm not going to try and stun him again. I'm just going to use the second skill to extend the existing stun. Ooh. He resisted, but that's okay because we still extended the ones that were already on him. So he actually resisted another 3 stack of bleed, which is fine because that's not what we're going for. We're going for to get him down to 40, as close as we can to 40. Then we're going to put the shield on from Freya or Stella, and then we are going to use King Rim to devastate him. Once again, I'm just going to jump right in here, and it takes a little bit, but don't get crazy, don't get stressed. You got plenty of stuff you could be doing if. Okay, so we're down to it. Okay, so we're going to do 42. This right at 40. Okay, we're gonna boost attack. Now, instead of attacking and extending it like we normally would, I'm actually going to swap turns. I'm going to pick Freya, and I'm going to have her put her shield up around everyone. So her second skill, we're going to do shield. And I'm going to, oh man, I think I want to King Ram. Oh, come on. Nope. Okay, it's fine. We didn't get to burst as much as I wanted to. But as you can see, like now we've survived it. So All we're going to do is exactly what we did before. We're just going to paralyze them. Boom. Just like that. And I'm going to hit him. Boom. Then I'm going to hit him. Boom. Oh, yeah. Here we go. All crits. And he's stunned. This is so great. And then I'm going to use this amazing underworld route for 67,000 damage. Oh, so good. Now, Chloe Van, if you build her right, she can do extraordinary damage with her third skill when it's fully maxed. But mine is not fully maxed, so it will not be doing an extraordinary amount of damage. But we'll just keep whittling him down. And this is just, like I said, it takes a little bit. Once again, we're going to go to that second skill, that shield throw. It's going to extend the stun. Maybe toss, I said maybe it was going to toss on some bleeds. Because if you look at, bleeds are great. Right? So he's gonna take 20,000 points of damage as soon as it's his turn. I don't think he's gonna last that long though, because we got some hate coming his way. Boom! Oh, he resisted for shenanigans. Once again, not going to. That's it. Yeah. And boom. Once again, I wasn't gonna use the paralyze. Because, once again, we don't want to feed into that resistance if we don't have to. So we're just switching back and forth between those two types of crowd control. And then that's it. Like I said, you can easily replace Freya with Stella to make that team happen. And then everybody else is a grindable champion. Well, I guess King Rim isn't. Who could be used instead of this guy? Man, I'll tell you. I got him when I beat 710. He was my legendary pull. That dude is so awesome. Like, he's just cool. But who else could we use? Oh, for sure you could use Kai, right? Just as a DPS, you could totally use Kai. Because he's a great DPS. Who else could you use? I mean, you could probably use Eris, actually, to be fair. And then, of course, you could use Balder or Caroline. But, yeah, there's a lot of great DPS champions. But he's such a great example of just, like, straight-on single target that, like, having that team put together is just incredibly helpful. And just switching back and forth. Like I said, crowd control is, like, where it's going to be at with this game. So, at least until we get some different gears or access to more gears as we get higher levels. But I just wanted to share that with everybody as I work through these raids or these levels. But as always, thanks for watching the videos. If you got comments, strategies, ideas, drop them in the comments below. The more we share, the more we learn. Thanks for watching the videos. Have a great day. Bye.